All right, everybody. Time for a fucking recap. I said I was gonna kick things back to the Joel vote, and by God, I'm kicking things back to that to recap because why not? Give me something to talk about. Um, so I guess to start things off with the simple part of that is the fact that Joel and Lolo ended up targeting Kurt, took down one of the members of Jeremy, and I ended up talking to Joel about that, kind of trying to play like I was understanding and on his side or whatever. Um, but he was very gung ho about things shouldn't be black and white. Fuck our tribal lines, which I get. We love a good separating of tribal lines. Hence, why I've been working with Hunter and was working with Bailey until now. But that aside, he was very much fuck tribal lines. We need to start just getting rid of people kind of thing, which again I'm all for, but he jumped into that without us actually having any kind of any of us having any kind of real relationship with Hunter and Bailey established. That was a dangerous game to be fucking playing. Plus he took out one of my alliance members. I was not very happy about that. You don't fuck with Lucky's alliance. That's a general rule. So during that, we hadn't told Kurt about the vote, which we have a bad habit of because we just did that with Raven. Again, I will get to that. But he was mad because he had an advantage that he expected us to ask him about, rather than being like, hey, I trust you guys. You guys are my closest alliance. If anything happens, I have this to save us. But he expected us to ask him like, hey, you have a hidden advantage. Like, that's not something that happens. It's not our responsibility. But whatever. He ended up being mad about that, and then he took the vote rather personally. I mean, obviously he left. It's unfortunate. I really liked him. I thought he was cool. It just sucks that it ended up that he responded to it in that kind of manner. But it is what it is. After that point, Joel and Lolo, for whatever reason, started targeting me. I have a feeling part of it's because I was talking to Lolo about, like we could have switched that vote, and the fact that I was the almost the only person, if not the only person, that was actually trying to get that vote flipped. I've been talking up Sophie and everybody to other people to try to establish like trust and relationships within my alliance. But that whole thing was me. Sophie was very keen on like, oh, there's already a vote out. We don't know who's going to flip. We don't know the relationship with Bailey and Hunter, and then like posting in the chat being like, oh, should we all just vote now and get it over with? Like she was very keen on like, let's get the vote over with, get Kurt out of here or whatever. And I was not having that. I spent all that time being spiteful, after I spent a lot of time trying to flip the vote, and no one was willing. I spent a lot of time afterwards, just hanging out, talking to Kurt in front of everybody in the tribe chat. I made sure that was blatantly obvious. Yeah, you want to fuck with me? I'm gonna take my sweet time doing whatever I want. But yeah, I think it was because of all of that Lolo may have, because Lolo came to me afterwards saying that he specifically targeted me and wanted me gone. So he may have pushed me to Joel because of the fact that I wasn't wanting to work with them on getting Kurt out. Either way, big no. You don't target me. So from there, everything was. This has been the wonderful thing with every vote is everyone who orchestrates shit and is behind shit has come forward to someone in some facet, and it comes right back to me. Lucky gets the information. Lucky gets the information out to the rest of his alliance. The alliance comes together and removes the threat, aka Joel, in that moment, because Joel was railroading us, or did railroad us into voting Kurt, and then was still trying to he had some push over Lolo, and Sophie and I weren't entirely sure of his relationship, at least with Bailey. I wasn't certain entirely on either Bailey or Hunter, but Hunter was talking very much like, I like you a lot. I want to work with you. And, I'm very cautiously optimistic. I'm like, okay, I like you. I want to work with you too. But inside, I'm like, there's a chance you're fucking me. There's a chance you are working with the other people and could be doing something. So I play nice and don't lead on that I'm feeling weird in any way, but I'm very careful. I've been working very closely with Sophie this whole game. She's absolutely like my number one right now. Fucking I got really anxious about her with the whole Kurt vote, the way she handled it. I was kind of freaking out. I was like, oh my god, did Sophie turn? Like, is she against the alliance? Am I about to be like bottom of the tribe right now, on the chopping block? Thankfully, I wasn't. Her and I had a big talk, and she ended up telling me that she said that she feels like she was being over the top with it, but that I also, if I didn't believe her, I could check her confessional, that she did a trust ranking on everyone and said that I was absolutely her number one, and she says she trusts me more than anything, me and Shane, which R.I.P. Shane. Goddamn, we'll dive into that too. Obviously, we're gonna dive into everything. So after the Joel vote, Lolo came to me, which the Joel vote I have to put out there just because it's in my notes and it's me being cheesy me. That was Operation Avenge Kurt, as people saw, and Operation Avenge Kurt was successful immediately. Great. Anyway, after that, Lolo came to me, and as I had said before, he admitted to me that he targeted me and wanted me gone. Another big no-no. You don't do that. You don't do that. Don't tell Lucky that you wanted him gone and that you targeted him, even though I already knew. But, like, you don't come to me and tell me that, because he immediately came to me and he admitted it, and he was like, I hope that we can move forward from here and reestablish trust. I'm like, yeah, we can do that. I like you. And meanwhile, behind the scenes, I was like, hey, everyone in my alliance, guess who just admitted shit to me? Let's get him gone. So we got him gone. That was that duo of a threat out of there. Lolo was less of a direct threat like Joel was. Joel had power. Lolo was more coercible, I guess. He was able to be talked into working with other people, and that could have hurt us, which we'll get into with this current vote. Is a similar situation. And with all the Lolo stuff as well, he ended up like he told Sophie a lot of stuff like, oh yeah, you're my number one, I trust you more than anyone. And then he came to me, he came to Hunter, he came to Bailey, he came to everyone saying like, yeah, I want to vote Sophie out. Sophie's a major threat, fuck her kind of thing. And like, again, wrong person to admit shit to. Sophie's my number one for real. We've been working very closely together. Like, obviously, I'm going to tell her. He just fucked up real bad there. He had already dug himself a grave targeting me. Basically, when he targeted Kurt, he did. I wasn't certain where he landed on that because he kept telling me he didn't want to vote Kurt, but he was afraid because he didn't know who voted and who had what kind of a relationship where. And so he was afraid we wouldn't be able to flip a vote and that the vote would turn on him. And then he immediately turned the vote on to himself. So yeah, he kept freaking out that whole time about the votes, and we all kept assuring him that the vote was Dawson, and he had nothing to worry about. And like he was like, well, all the votes are going in really quickly, and no one said anything to me. I'm like, oh, it's fine. Like everyone's very gung ho on Dawson. No one's had any contact with him. Like it's fine. That's who we're all voting. You should get your vote in. And it wasn't Dawson, obviously. So Lolo was then very promptly removed. And so from there, I also didn't address the fact that, Merge was great. Going into Merge, having my alliance back was fucking awesome. Everyone but Dawson. That felt comforting. That felt great. I was happy that we made Merge, like, all but one of our alliance. That was a blessing. And then we all, Raven for about, 5 minutes. And then me, Sophie, Shane, Hunter, and Jonald. I believe Hunter was there. I don't know. It's in my confessional. Fucking just go look at that list of who all was there. If you don't know, we all had a voice chat for like, I think it was 2.5 hours or something like that. Was absolutely fantastic. I had a great time. I especially had a good time talking to Jonald and Shane, mostly Shane. Shane was my fucking boy. I am pissed he's gone. I was hoping to be able to do more voice chats with them, and we were all going to do Jackbox potentially together. But, maybe we can do that after the org's over, as our full group. And, yeah. So from there, whenever there was talks of the vote during this recent one, when Bailey said he wanted Raven gone, simply because he hadn't had any like much conversation with her, like I tried to flip that. I did not want Raven to go. She's one of the OG imaginary friends. I really enjoy her. I don't want her gone. Also, all of us are very guilty of being gone socially. Like we've all been dealing with a lot IRL, so we've all been gone. If we're gonna remove one person for that, we might as well all self-vote essentially, because we're all guilty. So I tried to get that flipped to Joe, and we had talked about how he's a very big late game and final tribal council threat. He's already been very gung-ho about, bragging about, I'm definitely going to make final tribal council. I'm going to be the winner, and whoever I decide to bring with me, is ensured second place. I can make sure of that, but I'm definitely the winner. On that live challenge we had, he had keybinds set up to insta-spam every single answer before all of us. Don't know how he fucked it up so bad against Sophie, but he did. But he's been prepared for challenges in kind of a scary way. He has completed 2 idol hunts now and idled out 2 people now. Both times the votes were on him, he has idled someone out. Dude's a fucking threat. Like, he needs gone. But Bailey, for some reason, wanted to defend him. I got scared when Hunter came to me in DMs asking if there was any chance that the vote could be flipped off of him, because he came back and, apologized for being gone. And I told him, I was like, look, it depends on everyone else, for one. For two, the vote isn't because he's been gone. It's because he's a fucking threat. Like, that's the big thing. He needs gone if any of us have a chance of making final tribal council and winning. Like, very, very obviously he needs gone. But yeah, so he ended up being tipped off to the vote being him, and then he idled and got Shane out. So Sophie and I did some sleuthing, talking to different people. Me mainly talking to Raven. Sophie talking to other people. Raven told me, like, she was mad. I understand why she was mad. I really get it, and I hope to God I actually truly cleared it up with her, and I'm holding myself accountable, and basically told her I'm holding myself accountable. But she was mad that she knew her name was brought up, but that none of us told her. She said she was told by Colin and Bailey that Shane and Jonald brought her name up, when it was definitely Bailey who brought her name up in our alliance chat. Like, they used her name as a decoy to get Shane out. They brought up that her name was brought up to her, but gave her decoy names on who brought her name up to railroad her into voting Shane with them. So a lot of fucking lying and manipulation going on there. She's not happy about that. I cleared everything up with her, and I told her, I have a tendency to tunnel vision into, if one of my people is being voted, I don't tell the person. I spend all of my time trying to flip that vote. I spend my time and energy trying to change that. I told her, because she said the fact that we didn't tell her means that we would have voted her in an instant. I wouldn't have. And I told her, I was like, you're absolutely one of the last people I want gone. I really like you. You're one of my OG fucking tribe mates. I have more of a relationship with you than, like Colin or Joe or Bailey and whatnot. I was like, I promise you, like, I do not want you gone. I will fight for you. And so she seemed like she understood. And I, like I said, I basically told her I'm holding myself accountable, that I need to change. I need to alert the person and then go do the, trying to change the vote kind of thing. Because that fucked things on the Dawson end, even though, again, it was Dawson's responsibility to tell us. Or not Dawson. I'm stupid. Kurt, on the Kurt end. It was Kurt's responsibility to tell us he had the hidden advantage, not ours, but we still could have told him, hey, they're wanting to vote you. But I spent all my time trying to change the vote while everyone else was too fucking timid because Joel had just instantly voted because, he had a vendetta out for Kurt. So they were all too afraid of who voted, who's in a relationship with them in what kind of way, or like how strong, and whatnot, where we can't vote, that'll put a target on us, or we can't flip the vote, that'll put a target on us, kind of thing. Like, it fucked things over there. And now that almost fucked over, or possibly has fucked over, a relationship between, us original imaginary friends and Raven. I'm hoping it didn't, because she seemed like she was upset that they used her. So I'm hoping that's restored. Sophie and I have decided we're absolutely, we're going to hold ourselves accountable and be much better about communicating this shit, being more clear and open before fighting. So yeah, that's a whole thing there. I got all that information. Sophie found out that Dawson was the one that voted me. I was a little worried on who voted me, but I had a feeling it was Dawson, because everyone else, clearly the other tribe wanted Shane gone, with the exception of Hunter. Hunter, as far as I'm aware, voted with us, because I'm pretty sure there was one vote that wasn't shown, and it might have been Hunter's. But I'm almost 100% certain that Hunter voted with us. I hope to God he has, because if he's on their side, which is another thing I'm a little anxious about with my conversation with him, then we're fucked. Yeah, I had a feeling it was Dawson that voted me, because Dawson and I have, aside from me not talking to Joe and, barely having any contact with Colin because he's been busy, Dawson, overall, throughout the entire game, I've had the most time with and the least conversation with. So he told Sophie that he threw out a random name. It wasn't malicious. It was just a name to throw out there because no one had told him the plan. Don't know why no one told him the plan, because when we came up with the plan in the Jeremy chat, I addressed that after Jonald had the perfect reasoning for getting Joe out, or Jonald and I guess, kind of coordinated on that, but he really, he was on top of, we need to make the plan in Jeremy before working with other people, and help solidify the reasoning for voting Joe and whatnot. And I said, okay, someone needs to tell Dawson and Raven this plan, and possibly Colin. And it sounds like Raven and Colin were brought in on the plan, but Dawson was entirely left out. Don't know why. Either way, that's apparently why he voted me. It wasn't malicious. Whatever. I knew it was him. It's fine. He's just kind of a random vote at this point, and he had the potential of being, he had the potential of being a swing vote. Wasn't, and could have been a swing vote going forward. But now we're planning on getting him out. Let's see. I know I went off on a bit of a tangent there, and I'm trying to remember where I landed off, or where I ended off on. So I tried to get the vote to be Joe. Hunter and Bailey wanted it to not be Joe, but Hunter may have voted with us. And then the votes ended up being Shane because of the fact that Bailey and Colin apparently tipped off Joe. I know I'm blanking a little bit. I need to keep better track of where I was starting with all of that. I was still hoping to get Joe out this round. It would be smart. He's a threat. He should not progress any further. That's, honest to God, just the most sense here. But Hunter is not keen on that. Hunter wants Dawson gone, which kind of makes me anxious on the side of, did Hunter actually vote with us, or did Hunter vote Shane? Because I talked about everything, and I asked him, I was like, hey, are you still keen on rolling with this group? I told him everything. I was like, look, Bailey flipped on us. Bailey and Colin both tipped Joe off on the vote. I explained everything to him. I was like, look, I know you and Bailey were tight with each other, but he's already he's already lied to our alliance, and that's bad and dangerous for all of us. But he's like, well, I don't want to go against Bailey yet. He could be useful down the line. I was like, yeah, I'm not planning on voting him now, but like, I told him I wanted to. The main reason why I was asking is because I wanted to make an alliance with him and Sophie, Jonald, Raven, and Dawson, so that we could work on the relationship with Raven and use Dawson as an extra vote on our end to get Joe out. And he was like, well, I don't. I want to see how this challenge shakes out and where everyone's going after that. But before I make any kind of decision, but I prefer Dawson to be out now because like I had told him, like having Dawson on our side would make sure that we had the numbers and didn't tie on a vote. Turns out I'm fucking bad at math. Shocker. And if we get Dawson out, as long as Hunter's still with us, we do still have the numbers. So this is all riding on, is Hunter with us or is Hunter with fucking emo history class? That's going to determine a lot, because that's the difference between majority or tie votes or someone getting swung over to their side. Possibly Raven, depending. I'm anxious at this point. I want to trust Hunter, but like the way he answered everything about, sticking with our alliance that has the numbers versus, realizing, hey, Bailey's not entirely on our side and lied to us, sounds like he may have been in on it. I don't know for certain. I probably should ask Raven, because when she was talking about things, she initially said everyone alerted Joe, and then she said that it was Colin and Bailey. But if everyone was in on it, does everyone include Hunter or not? So I'm gonna ask her about that, actually, just to be certain. God, I hope Hunter hasn't gone to their side. So yeah, we're looking at it being no choice of Dawson being removed this round. Even Sophie said that, she wanted Dawson gone this round because of his randomness being a threat, and that he would be an easy vote, and that we need to stick with easy votes, considering, most people, like, he's not reliable in any way. He's not on one side or another, it seems, and so no one's going to want that around. He would be a very easy removal. So we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping there's no subplot on the other end to not vote Dawson, but vote me or Sophie or Jonald. We'll find out. I really wish that people would go for Joe right now, because that would solidify a lot of us. Like, even if like Colin and Bailey and Hunter, all three are sticking to their OG tribal line, they do have to realize that Joe is such a fucking late game threat that keeping him around for every round that he makes it further, that is an exponentially less % chance of them making it further, or at least, getting a win in Final Tribal Council. So, find out how things go, I guess. That's everything that I have on this right now. I've been going for basically 24 minutes, so I guess I'm gonna just end it here, and we'll see how things go tomorrow. So stay tuned, I guess.